Tyler Reddick's son looked him dead in the eyes and asked him point blank why he never wins Daytona. That one simple question changed everything, because now when Reddick rolls up to that track, it is not about points or playoffs. It is about being a father who finally delivers. Tyler Reddick's son asked him why he never wins Daytona, not a reporter, not a sponsor, his kid. Think about that for a second. You can handle pressure from a crew chief. You can tune out the noise from media. But when your own child looks up at you with those honest, innocent eyes and asks the one question you have been asking yourself for years, that hits different. That is not racing pressure anymore. That is life pressure. And honestly, that moment might be the most important thing that has happened to Reddick's career in years. Because here is the thing about Daytona. That track does not care how talented you are. It does not care how fast your car is or how good your team is. Daytona is chaos wrapped in asphalt. It chews up great drivers and spits them out. And Tyler Reddick has felt every single bite. Look at his history there. The runs that built hope, the wrecks that stole it. The moments where you could feel it, you were sitting there watching, thinking this is finally his time, and then boom, gone. Another year, another heartbreak, another drive back to the hauler with nothing to show for it. That is brutal. That is Daytona. Reddick is not a bad superspeedway racer. Let us be clear about that. The talent is real. The speed is real. But talent and speed at Daytona are just the entry fee. Everyone there has talent. Everyone has speed. What separates winners from the rest is timing, positioning, and sometimes just blind luck breaking your way instead of against you. And so far at Daytona, luck has not been Reddick's friend. He came close, more than once. You could see it building across those years, the maturity, the racecraft getting sharper, the ability to stay calm in the draft getting better. But close at Daytona does not mean anything. Close is just another word for heartbreak with extra steps. And now his son knows it too. Kids notice things parents think they miss. His son has probably watched enough races, heard enough conversations, picked up enough from the energy around the house after another Daytona disappointment to know that this track is the one that got away. Kids are perceptive like that. So when he asked that question, "Why haven't you won there, Dad?" it was not a casual question. It carried the weight of everything Reddick already carries alone. If you love this sport even half as much as I do, you know exactly why this story matters right now. And you already know there is a second layer to all of this brewing inside 23XI Racing that makes the personal stakes even higher. Stick with me because we are just getting started, and this thing goes deeper than one kid's question. If you are watching this and feeling what I am feeling, hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed, because this is the kind of NASCAR story that deserves real conversation between real fans, not just headlines. Back to Reddick. The thing that stands out about how he has talked about Daytona is the honesty. He does not make excuses. He does not blame the car or the draft or bad luck with a wave of his hand. He owns it. He acknowledges that Daytona has been a problem. That kind of self-awareness is rare, and it tells you something about who Tyler Reddick is as a competitor. But self-awareness does not win races. Execution wins races. And now, layered on top of everything else, the career pressure, the team expectations, the superspeedway monkey on his back, there is a little boy at home who just wants to know when his dad is finally going to win the big one. Let that sink in. That is motivation. That is the kind of fire that either unlocks something in a driver or burns them from the inside out. Which one is it going to be for Reddick? That is the question. And the answer might be tied to something happening at 23XI that almost nobody is talking about yet. 23XI Racing is not just another team anymore. When Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin built this thing, a lot of people treated it like a vanity project. A celebrity with money playing NASCAR. Give it a couple years, they said, it will fade, it will struggle, it will become a cautionary tale. It did not. 23XI has grown into a legitimate operation, multiple cars, real infrastructure, real talent. And Tyler Reddick, when he made the move there, was the signal that this team meant business. You do not pull a driver like Reddick away from Richard Childress Racing if you are just dabbling. That move was a statement, but here is where it gets complicated. Because statements and results are two different things, and at a place like Daytona, the race that defines legacies in this sport more than almost any other, 23XI has not closed the deal either. The team needs a Daytona win just as badly as Reddick does, maybe more. Because right now they are building something, and buildings need cornerstones. A Daytona win for Reddick would be that cornerstone. It would shift the entire narrative around the team. It would stop the quiet whispers that say they are still not quite there yet. It would give Michael Jordan his Daytona moment. It would give Bubba Wallace's teammate the win that validates the whole operation. So the pressure on Reddick is not just personal anymore. It is organizational. His son's question is sitting on his chest. His team's legacy is sitting on his shoulders. And Daytona is sitting out there on the schedule, waiting, like it always does, completely indifferent to anyone's feelings or storylines. But here is what nobody is talking about yet. Tyler Reddick has quietly become one of the most dangerous drivers in NASCAR when the pressure is personal. Look at how he has responded to being doubted before. Look at the moments in his career where people wrote him off or questioned him, and he came back with something that made everyone go quiet. He does not crumble under weight. At least, he has not so far. The question is whether this kind of weight is different, because there is pressure from competition and then there is pressure from love. They do not feel the same. They do not process the same. A driver can compartmentalize a bad qualifying run or a crew chief's frustration. You cannot compartmentalize your kid's question. It follows you into the car. It is there in the quiet before the green flag. It is there when you are 3 wide at 200 miles per hour trying to decide when to make your move. Does that make you sharper? Or does it make you desperate? Desperate drivers at Daytona do not win. They wreck. The best superspeedway racers, the ones who actually close the deal at Daytona, race with controlled aggression. They feel the moment without forcing it. They trust the process even when every instinct is screaming to go now, push now, make something happen right now. Reddick knows this. He is smart enough to know this. But knowing something and doing something are two completely different things when your heart is involved. And right now, Tyler Reddick's heart is involved in a way it has never been before. His hot take, he can use it. He can take that energy from his son and channel it into the exact kind of quiet, locked-in focus that wins superspeedway races. Some drivers break under personal pressure. Reddick, based on everything we have seen from him, seems to sharpen, but this is uncharted territory for him. And Daytona has a way of exposing uncharted territory at the worst possible time. Let us zoom out for a second. Because this is not just a Daytona story anymore. This is a season story, a championship story, a legacy story. Tyler Reddick is in his prime right now. The raw ability has always been there. Anyone who has watched him consistently knows that. But raw ability plus the right team plus a defining win equals something different. It equals a driver who enters a different conversation. The conversation about who the best in this sport really is. A Daytona 500 win, or even a strong Daytona result that breaks the curse, would do that for Reddick. It would change how the paddock sees him. It would change how sponsors see him. It would change how fans who only pay attention to winners see him. More than that, it would change how his son sees him. And honestly, that last one might matter most of all. We talk a lot in this sport about motivation. About what drives a driver when the car is equal and the strategy is set, and it all comes down to who wants it more in those final laps. Most of the time that motivation is abstract. Pride, money, points, legacy, but sometimes motivation gets a face. Reddick's motivation has a face right now. It is a little kid who asked an honest question, and that might be the most powerful fuel anyone can carry into a race car. The championship implications here are real too. A Daytona win early in a season does not just give you points, it gives you momentum, it gives your team belief, it removes a mental weight that has been dragging. Reddick performing at his ceiling for a full season, unburdened by the Daytona question, could make 23XI a genuine championship threat in a way they have not quite been yet. And this is the part that keeps me up at night, if I am being honest. What if it does not happen? What if Reddick goes back to Daytona with all of this weight, all of this personal fire, all of this need to deliver for his son, and Daytona does what Daytona does? What if the wreck comes again? What if the moment slips away again? Because that question his son asked does not disappear after one race. It does not go away if Reddick walks out of Daytona empty-handed again. It gets heavier. It becomes a part of the story, whether Reddick wants it to or not. And here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Sometimes the most motivated drivers are the most vulnerable ones. We do not know yet which version of Tyler Reddick shows up when it matters most. We have seen glimpses of both. The locked-in, ice-cold Reddick who executes perfectly, and the Reddick who tries to force things when the pressure builds and it falls apart. Which one shows up at Daytona? Which version of himself does he deliver for his son? That question is not answered yet. It is just sitting there, open, alive, waiting for racing to tell us the truth. So I want to know what you think. Does personal motivation like this make Tyler Reddick more dangerous at Daytona, or does it make him more vulnerable? Drop it in the comments right now, because I genuinely want to read every single one. And if you watched this whole thing and felt even a piece of what I felt writing it, you are exactly who this channel is for. Hit like, leave your take and subscribe. Because every week we are here breaking down the stories inside NASCAR that actually matter, the ones that go deeper than the box score, and you do not want to miss what is coming next.